they don't want to because they want to avoid waste of paper, because you can print and it's not exactly what you're looking for. So what they do first is that they run a trial print. Now that trial print will give you an idea. Okay, this is, if this picture comes out, this is what it's going to look like. If you like it, so that you don't waste time and energy, if you like it, you can go ahead and print. If you don't, you can go and add a bit of this or remove a bit of this. You do trial again. What am I trying to say? It's, number one, is a proof that there's a picture here, that it is printable, that this picture exists. Are you with me? I'm going somewhere. It says that it is a test applied to a test applied to article or substance to determine whether they are standard or satisfactory what quality proof. I want you to, while we go on, we are putting this side by side. Remember, we're talking about future proof faith. A faith that you have subjected to something and you have proven it to be true and correct. You have proven that it is something true. It is something that has been subjected to all forms of mathematical calculation, and it has been proven to be what? Correct. Something that is experiential. Are you following me? Oh my God. Now look at this. Even if you never did science, at least you did mathematics, no matter how bad it is. Right? If you pick paper, no matter how you draw this, no matter how terrible or crooked the angle is, once you have something like this, if you put your protractor around it, you are going to see that if you add this and this, it will give you equal to this. Are you with me? That, I don't want to bother you so much about that. You can go home and try it if you have forgotten. Just put a triangle, extend one side, the side looking at it, measure it, you see it will give you, no matter how you do it, no matter how big it is, no matter how small it is going to show you that y plus z, y plus x will give you z. Are you following me? Same here. That once you draw a circle and you have two, a radius this way, move it and it meets anywhere in the circle, that whatever you have here, you're going to have twice this there. It has been proven. No matter how you try it, as long as what you have, that this and this are equal, wherever you extend it to, what you're going to have is going to, in the center, is going to be twice what you have at the circumference. So people have worked on this over time. So you and I today, it has become something we study in school. We write it in exam and we pass. And it is not just that we are studying it, we have tried it. Or maybe some of us, we just believed it. But because we're talking about future-proof faith, we accepted it by faith, right? Talking about it, it looks more like, okay, is that, then if you go home and you try it out, that's when you will know that this is true. That no matter how you go around it, it will always come out to be what? True. Why? Because it has been tried and tested. Are we here? And that's what God will have us do with our faith. You will always hear this refrain as I go on tonight, that until we have proven our faith, it becomes this certain. It is a faith that has been proven that is a future-proof faith. Follow it. Are you ready? Okay. No, come on.
are here to remove the Blessed Sacrament while the town is occupied.
This is a barracks.
This is a church.
What are you doing here?
We are here to take care of the Eucharist.
Now get out of here.
You again.
We are here today to retake possession of this church building and to strengthen all those whom the enemies of the church have trampled down. You should know that you have not suffered.
You won't know the moment the man came wearing that, putting on that cloth and putting on the sash. The man was making a very categorical statement. We're going to have a mass here. And by so doing, he was saying that if you are going to kill me, I'm going to die. So those who were walking up to him to follow, I mean, when he came and they started putting on whatever, and the guy just saw him, and the guy walked and stood by his side. And I looked at that and I said, this man knew what he was walking up to. That means at that point he was very willing to die. I don't know if you get the picture here. When he wore that garb, he was saying, because the guys who were all around there were the faithfuls, am I right? The Catholic faithfuls. So when he showed up with that attire, he announced, the announcement was that we're going to have a mass here. So if you are afraid of guns, then it's time to step aside. If you follow me, you are likely going to die believing in this. So he walked right into that place knowing that that could be the end of his life. Are you with me? Can you move to the next slide there? Because I think, and so, this is what he said. He said, you are the church. You are the people of God. You are Jesus. In the here is correct. In the here and now. He said, he is crucified in you. Just as surely as Jesus was crucified 2,000 years ago on that hill outside Jerusalem. That was what he was talking, that was what he said to the faithfuls who were there. And the big question, he said, he is crucified in you. Just as surely as Jesus was crucified 2,000 years ago on the hill outside Jerusalem. What made these men, women and their children anchor their lives on the above statement? He said that Jesus Christ is crucified in them. How do you process that? How do you explain that? This thought, is still, for those of us who came here on Friday when we prayed, it's still the same line of thought. I said, what is the difference between the folk tale our fathers told us and what we read in the Bible? What is the big difference between that there was a time when humans and animals lived together, and that Jesus Christ is crucified in you? That you are the Jesus of today. That he is crucified in you the same way he was crucified outside the street of Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. How do you know that this story is true? The women, the men, and their little children. What experience did they have that they could decide to pay the ultimate price? I'm going ahead of myself here. And this your stuff, come on. The point here is not that they were not shot by the soldiers. They could have been shot, but that they believed in something and were willing to pay the ultimate price for it. So the story here is not that they were not shot. Are you with me? That's not the story. But that there was something that they have encountered, there's a life they have seen, there's something that has happened to them, that at that point, even if it means dying for it, so be it. So these are some of the perspectives that I'll run through some slides here. It's the perspectives of the current realities, picked directly from PD's slides. That the faith in question here is not a faith of will it succeed or will it not succeed. the faith will succeed. The faith will overcome. But like we always will say, it will overcome in some lives. In some lives, it may not. What will make it become an overcoming faith is what the practitioner makes of it. Categorically said here, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you lose on earth will be loose in heaven. What happens to this statement? The experience, the reality of this experience, of this statement, is not that it is written, is that what have we done with it? Just the same way that those theorems have been proven. You can write that in WAEC and you will pass, and you don't know if it is true or not. Hello, are you with me? It's as simple as drawing a circle and joining it, and then if you know how to use your protractor, you check it to know if it is true. That's where, if we see such statement that I will build my church, and they get, what happens to this statement? What we make of this statement is what makes it either true or something we are still playing around with. Are we here? The master's design is our confidence. That's the verdict, that the gate of hell will not prevail against the church. Are you with me? The gate of hell will not prevail against the church. There are times when it will look as if that is what is happening. Are you with me? There are times the reality, what you're looking at, appears as if, is there really anything about this faith that it will not ultimately be? I said, well, there was a time when we couldn't, so to say, there was no much in terms of people voicing their opinion about things. That today, no matter how bad it will get, it can only happen for a while. But that Christianity will get to a point where it will go into extinction. No. If it didn't happen many years back in the time when we talked about the dark ages, the church, by configuration, by design, is an overcoming faith. Are you with me? And these guys, this stuff you gave me, and it's really, really You want to give me another one? Huh? Please hurry up. Maybe while that's happening, can you move to the next slide? So Hebrews reinforces this truth. He says, for you have not come to a mountain that may not be touched, and are born with fire, and to blackness and darkness and tempest, and the sound of a trumpet and the voice of, but you have come to Mount Zion, the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly, the church of the firstborn who are registered in heaven, to God, the judge of all, to the spirit of just men made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and just men made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better things than the blood of Abel. So we are not called to terror and horror, but to something better, stronger, and eternal. There is a shaking that is going on. And when the shaking is on, everything that is not anchored on Christ will give way. The systems will see, the things that look so invincible, the things that look so, they loom so large, they'll be shaken away. Move. See that you do not refuse him who speak. For if they do not escape who refuse him who spoke on earth, much more shall not escape if we turn away from him who speaks in heaven. Whose voice then shook the earth. But now he has also promised, saying, yet one more I will shake not the earth, but also the heaven. Now this, yet one more, indicates that the removal of those things that have been shaken, as those things that are made, that the things which cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us have grace by which we may serve God and acceptably with reverence and godly fear, for God is a consuming fire. What is all this all about? That we have received a kingdom which cannot be shaken. What we make of this statement is actually the responsibility of you and I. This statement can be true or it can appear to be false, all dependent on what you do with it. Move. There's a shaking going on, affecting both the material world and the spiritual world. Purpose is to reveal the true state of all things. Purpose is to push all sin to the point of what? Difference. Only the unshakable will what? Remain. And what is that thing that is unshakable? Move. That's our what? Our faith. That's our faith. This remains to be like something that is subjective. Subjective in the sense, if our faith is not shakable, is your faith shakable? Is your faith shakable? Move. So the habit of the season remains. What kind or what brand of faith is what fit for these times? Move. Because all these died in faith. These people all die controlled and sustained by their faith, just like the short clip we saw here. You know, the Bible says something about Abraham. Bible said that Abraham figuratively received Isaac back from the death. Are you with me? So if you look at that, we can say that those guys actually died. They died. Yeah. They died because by choosing to walk with the priest, the implication is that if you guys are going to shoot us, go ahead. So in reality, figuratively speaking, they died. They died for what they believed in. Move. No other weapon is guaranteed to overcome but our what? Our faith. Move on. For whatever, I'm going to dwell, my thought tonight is actually built around this particular scripture. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that overcomes the world, our faith. Who is he who overcomes the world but he who believes that Jesus Christ is what? The Son of God. He who believes that what? Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Move. And this is it. Move. See, faith described as believing and life shaped by the reality of Jesus Christ being the Son of God. Believing and life shaped by the reality that Jesus Christ is who? The Son of God. That brings me back to the question I keep asking. How do you process this? Move. How do you process this? What proof do you have that that statement is correct? What have you done? No, go back. What proof do you have? You know, even ever before I stepped into a church, ever before I knew, I've told this many times that I don't have a background of a religious background. I don't. But I was a Christian. Because everybody, you know, from the East is adjudged to be Christians. Although there are a couple of allergies now, probably for business interest. That's what it is, always. When you see an Igbo man, an Okoro, saying he's an Alhaji, be careful. Be careful. My cousin went as far as Kanu to marry. Is he a Haji and Hajia now? business interest. You know. What proof do you have that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? What proof? Do you have any proof? These are the questions we, in this time when we are saying, what manner of faith, future proof faith, this is the kind of question. When we begin to answer this kind of question, then we can be sure that we actually have a faith that is future proof. What proof do you have about that statement that it is correct? That is not a fairy tale. What encounters have you had that will make you say that that statement is true? Move. The proof is what guarantees that faith is future proof. Are you with me? When you have that proof, when you have that experience, when you have that encounter, that's what guarantees that your faith is what? Future proof. Move. Is it working now? What we have heard, what we have seen, what we have touched, the John's perspective. This is the way John opened his thought in 1 John. That